thanks for joining me today for a new tutorial, and I wanted to stop by and show you how I organized my Prima Watercolor Confections. They are one of my favorite watercolors, just so you know. They are something I use quite often, and I get a lot of questions sometimes of what colors I like to use as far as watercolor brands. Daniel Smith is one that I use all the time. Winsor & Newton is another one. These are something I use really a lot because they're just really fun and easy. And I also really like an alternate watercolor palette that hasn't been released yet, but I will say you will love it when it comes out. So one of the palettes, like I said, was the Prima Watercolors. They come in little mini tins, little black tins that hold about 12 colors. I have the entire collection of Prima Watercolors. So as you can imagine, I had a lot of tins laying around. And that was kind of hard for me to use because there were so many of them, it made it hard for me to be able to figure out where the colors were, which colors I wanted, stuff like that. So it wasn't as simple and easy and convenient for me to be able to use those mini tins all the time. So I needed to come up with a solution. I decided to try and see if I could find some sort of palette that would allow me to hold all the colors in one place. Started looking online, wasn't finding much of anything. Looked for half empty pan tins, stuff like that, but still wasn't finding something that A, was going to fit what I wanted, and B, hold all the colors. So that got me thinking of how could I get around that? What kind of tin or watercolor palette or something could I find and alter it? So I found this particular palette, and I'll give you the dimensions on the screen here and also on my blog. I don't remember which brand this was, but I will show you some dimensions so that you can find something very similar. And so this particular palette actually came with 2 trays inside. One of the trays is this one here, which is actually meant for mixing colors. This particular piece I used to put all of the Prima watercolors inside of. I did this only out of convenience of it's easy to clean this then. Once I have this in a tray, I can just lift them all out like this, set it aside, clean this if I need to, and then slip it back in. You don't have to do it that way. You could, of course, just fill this entire palette with the colors and work from it like that. I like this tray, so I really liked the concept of being able to do this. Now, however, there is a little bit of space left over here. I was able to fit all of my colors in here, but I did have this ½ inch space that was not able to fit more half pans, even though I didn't have them. But if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to stick it in this spot. So I just put a line of double-sided tape, a couple layers thick, through that area and then covered it with a piece of washi tape. So I now have a cute little pattern, which helps decorate the palette a little bit more. Now the other side had a bunch of I had one tray that had a bunch of wells in it. This would work great if you have some liquid watercolors and wanted to be able to put them in here. So you'd have a mixing tray and then a wells that you could use for the watercolors. And I actually do have another one of these that I do that with. However, that's not what I could do with this palette. Because I've got the half pans on this side, I could not keep that well tray in here and be able to close this. So I needed to take that out. So now I can use this as a mixing chamber because this is still plastic in here. So that allows me to be able to mix colors on here if I want to be able to create new colors. So this is really great, and it closes nice. There's an airtight lock, so this is going to keep all of the air out of your watercolors, keep them nice and safe, and it's also very compact. Now I can also use this space as a storage area, so I can put my watercolor charts that I have for these Prima watercolors in here, and I can close this and keep everything all contained and handy. So when I'm ready to use this, I have everything I need right here. Now let's talk about those charts that I have. Now when you get your Prima watercolors, all of your Primas come with little swatch charts. So you can create your own little swatch charts and figure out which colors go, and so you can really easily just reference this and figure out what you have in your palette. I actually prefer this particular chart that I made, which is just a piece of watercolor paper that I made some grid lines on and then put little dots of color with the corresponding numbers on there. Now this does not have the names, but what I did was I aligned all of these colors on here so that it matches up with the colors in my palette. I have these sorted by rainbow order going from red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple into pink, and then the neutrals and shimmering colors along the top. This allows me to quickly glance at the chart and know quickly what I have here, and I can work with this very easily. Now, if I want to know the name of the particular color, not just the number, instead of going online and trying to find it, I kept these because these have the names written on them. So I can easily look at these and say, okay, I used number 40, rose. So it's just a really great concept of being able to use these and have everything together. So that way when you're working with your watercolors, you can really quickly reference and know what you have. So I hope that seeing this particular watercolor palette and how I created it has helped you learn a little bit on how you can kind of alter something like this palette and turn it into something that you need. It's really fun, and I love having these now all together. It's been really great to use them this way. And so I hope that you have enjoyed this video and got some inspiration with it. I will be back again very soon with more video tutorials showing some fun cards and other techniques. So stay tuned for that. There's a lot of fun things coming up over the next couple weeks. I hope I will see you again very soon. And until then, have a great day. Bye!